rise to the pledge. I pledge
allegiance to the flag
of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please call the roll.
Councilmember Irby?
Here.
Councilmember Page?
Here.
Councilmember Fitch?
Here.
Councilmember Gray?
Present.
Councilmember Clancy?
Here.
Councilmember Tracus?
Present.
Councilmember Harder?
Present.
Mr. Chair, we have a quorum.
I move for approval of the journal of the meeting of December 18th, 2018.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Journal's approved.
Okay, I move to suspend the rules in order for the purpose of electing the county council chair and vice chair for 2019.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Rules are suspended. Floor is open for nominations.
I nominate Councilman Page as chair.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I nominate Hazel Irby.
I think we have to move to close the nominations first. I move to close the nomination for chair.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Nominations are closed. All in favor of the election of me, Councilman Page, as chair, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Vice Chair.
I nominate Hazel Irby as vice chair of the county council for 2019.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion to, any other nominations? Motion to close nominations?
So moved.
Second, all in favor of closing nominations, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Before you is a nomination for vice chair, Councilwoman Hazel Irby. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Councilwoman Irby.
To you as well. Okay.
We have no bid openings tonight, so we'll move to communications.
Mr. Chair, we have no tax compromises or zoning matters this evening, so we'll move to road and bridge matters. Under road and bridge matters, first and second districts.
Receive, file plan specifications and detailed estimate of cost be approved, and the director of procurement be authorized to advertise for bids as recommended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Moving on to other communications, Mr. Chair, item number 1, 6th district.
See file and the agreement be approved as recommended, please. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 2, 4th district.
Receive, file, and refer to the Department of Transportation and Public Works, the Department of Planning, and to the county council.
So ordered.
Item number 3, all districts.
Receive and file shall Bill 294 pass, the objection of the county executive thereto notwithstanding.
Second.
This bill will override veto of the county executive to establish Bick and Kistner as the council staff for the ethics committee. Roll call.
Councilmember Irby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch?
Before I vote, just like to say that our ask, we didn't have a chance to talk about this, Mr. Chairman. Is this anything other than what the voters already decided about us hiring our own counsel? Is there some difference in this bill?
Yeah, the county charter allows us to retain outside counsel with council approval for each employment.
For each employment?
Yeah, for each issue.
Okay. All right, and I will vote no.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy?
I would like to make a statement before I cast my vote. So one of the reasons I ran for this seat was because I wanted to change the way that county government works so that it works better for all of us. I've been on the job now for 2 days, and I can tell you my constituents want us, their elected leaders, to work together respectfully. But while they value collaboration, they also want a clean government, one that is worthy of the county in which it sits and where transparency is paramount. The council has important business to tend to over the coming weeks and months, particularly in regards to allegations of some very serious, concerning behavior involving the current administration and the Economic Development Partnership. A thorough investigation is warranted, and the county councilor has an unavoidable conflict of interest in representing this council and the county executive at the same time as we tend to these matters. The council needs and deserves its own lawyer, especially in handling this sensitive investigation. I look forward to working together with the executive on some important shared objectives, and there are some, but on this, we will differ. It's simply too important. So I do support the override of the county exec's veto here. Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on the motion, there are 6 ayes and 1 no.
Bill
Mr.
number
Chairman, can
290
I add one last thing?
Just 1 second. Bill number 294 is finally passed. Go ahead,
I
Councilman.
just wanted to add that my reason for voting no is what the voters decided. The voters decided that we would not use tax dollars to fight ourselves, between ourselves. That's how I saw that vote. That's why I voted no.
There are, just for, and I'm sure you'll be more familiar with these as we move forward, there are numerous occasions where we hire outside counsel for various tasks along the way. This is, in my mind, this is just one of them where county counselor's office was not, would not be appropriate.
Okay.
Next item.
Item number 4, 3rd District.
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered.
Item number 5, 3rd District.
Receive, file, and the agreement be approved as recommended.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 6.
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 7, 2nd District.
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, that will be the order.
Item number 8, all districts.
Receive and file, and that will be the order.
Item number 9, 2nd District.
Receive and file and change of owner be approved as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 10, 1st District.
Please hold on the order of business.
So ordered.
Item number 11, 4th District.
Please hold.
So ordered.
Item number 12.
Receive, file, and the county council be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation. Same motion through item number 17.
Item number 18, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 7th Districts.
Receive, file, contract in an amount not to exceed $889,669.24 be approved and awarded to Missouri Petroleum Products Company, the lowest responsive bidder, as recommended, and authorization for revision to the existing traffic control devices be approved as requested.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item number 19, 5th District.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered. Please read the add-ons.
Item number 1, 6th District.
Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation, please.
So ordered.
Item number 2.
Receive, file, and hold on the order of business, same motion through item number 8, and that will be the order.
Item number 9, 3rd District.
Receive and file.
So ordered.
Item number 10, 7th District.
Which item you jumped? You jumped to 10?
Did I miss that?
Item number 10, yes.
Okay. Receive, file, and the county councilor be directed to prepare the appropriate legislation.
So ordered. Thank you. Report of the county executive. No report. Report of special committees.
Please hold on the order of business.
So ordered. Public forum.
We have 4 speakers this evening, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. When your name is called, please approach the podium and adjust the microphone so we can capture your remarks. Please leave your name and address for the record, and please try and limit your comments to 3 minutes.
First speaker this evening is Tom Sullivan.
Mr. Chairman, I have several things to mention. First, I will be filing a sunshine law complaint against the County Council for not providing records I requested concerning appointments to the St. Louis County Port Authority. This council has complained about transparency in county government, but then you rush appointments through with 1 day's notice and refuse to provide even the basic information about the people being appointed. Also, another complaint will be filed after tonight's meeting. This is due to the agenda not complying with the law. At the last council meeting, a lieutenant colonel in the St. Louis County Police Department talked about the need for putting 2 officers in police cars. He said 2 particular officers killed on duty might still be alive had the county had the 2 officers in the car. That's one possibility. Another possibility is that there could be 4 dead officers instead of 2. There are plenty of instances around the country where 2 officers to a car has resulted in both being killed. This is just one of the issues surrounding Proposition P, where the council has failed to do its homework. The shot spotter system is on this evening's agenda, and this also has divided views in law enforcement. The system is supposed to pinpoint from where shots are fired, but it isn't always accurate, and it can tie up a lot of officers with little results. Some cities like the system, others have dropped it. This is another issue where the council failed to do any due diligence. Also on the agenda is a proposed county charter amendment to divide up the county consular's office. This doesn't make much sense. I don't think it deserves the support of county voters. County Council's Ethics Committee is scheduled to start its investigation of the economic partnership and the Port Authority this month. A smarter alternative would be to have the state auditor look into the issues. Council has many other matters to deal with. The Missouri Department of Revenue will now collect the tax revenue from Proposition Z. I wish they would have refused. Putting the tax increase on the ballot was one of the worst things the council has ever done. The tax will result in St. Louis County taxpayers giving more than $40 million a year to the St. Louis Zoo, a 100% increase, so visitors outside the area can get into the zoo for free. Over the next 10 years, that will come to an incredible $450 million or more when the increased yields are figured in. The zoo is already swimming in money and didn't need the additional revenue. At the same time, so many needs in St. Louis County go unmet. For some time, I have complained to this council about failing badly to oversee the incredible amount of money it appropriates for the Metro Transit Agency. Metro received a 100% increase in revenue from St. Louis County when voters approved a tax proposal in 2010. Since that time, it has received about $1.2 billion from the county. John Nations headed the campaign and said the money was needed to get people to work. It's really an economic development issue, he said. A recent Riverfront Times edition had a cover story on people having a hard time getting to restaurant jobs in West County using public transit. It even caused one restaurant to close. Just one more area where this council is failing to do its job. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Tom.
Next speaker is Gwen Concha.
My name is Gwendolyn Coxiel. I'm with Raleigh Renters, and I'm here advocating on a tenant of ours. I don't have time to talk about Mr. Bond's personal life. I do have some article I want you to read about him. I can tell you that he was a man that worked on his job for 20 years. He lost his job. His daughter was stabbed to death by her ex-boyfriend, and his mother and his wife died a year later from lupus. And then he was through false advertising of Kingdom Realtors, he got into a substandard home where it was a roof leaking, and now it's been leaking for 3 years, and it's a tarp over the building, and it's been there for 3 years. Now it's mold setting in, but I can't talk about mold because there's nothing in the books about mold, because we can't defend anything if it's nothing. There's no legislation about it. But I will tell you, after all that happened to Mr. Bond, he became a victim of American Water. American Water sent Mr. Bond a letter and told him that they noticed it's their job to let tenants know that they're using excessive water, and it was unusual, so they sent them out this letter. So they knew it was something wrong going on in the home. Did they say that they were gonna come out and fix it? No. They told him, if you determine that the source of high water is used in the result of a broken service line, you may be able to contact St. Louis County and get the issue repaired for free. But I'm trying to figure out, why is the tenant getting this letter? I'm here for procedure purposes. Why is the tenant, he's renting, this should go to the owner. That's number one. Then a week later, Mr. Bond receives a bill for $600. The normal bill is $75. He receives a bill for $600, $585. So they know it's the problem. So him being outraged, he called and asked for investigation. They come out and they determine that they cannot find that the meter is constantly running and that they could not find a leak on the inside of the home. You got $600 worth of water coming in your home. They be floating around in the place. So he gets this, and so they come in and they determine that the meter is broken. So I'm trying to figure out who can pay a $600 when your budget is standing for $75. Who can pay a $600 water bill? They know something was wrong. And so what did they do? They gave the tenant, again, procedures. Why are you giving this to the tenant? He's a renter. He gets a paper to fill out with the owner to sign off on 16 spots. Owner is used for, he's sent to St. Louis County Department of Public Works to get the problem fixed. The tenant is giving this. Why is the tenant giving this paper? This should go to the owner of the building. So this man, on top of losing his wife, his daughter, his home, and everything else, he has to be stuck with this. So again, it is about procedure. But the last thing I want to say, they found out that the meter was broken on the side of American Water. It was not the tenant's responsibility. The pipe was broken on the side of American Water, and it took us 5 months to get running around just to get the situation fixed. What if this was a 75-year-old woman? He had us running around for him. How many other meters are broken and people are paying for water that they're not using? So the procedure needs to be addressed. This situation needs to go to the owner. This paperwork needs to go to, yes, it can go to the tenant because he's at home, but it also needs to go to the owner, and it shouldn't take 5 months to get the situation fixed. This man paid an excessive bill for 6 months. And so I hope, thank you for listening, and I would like you to read his story.
Ma'am, you can hand that to me.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Next speaker is Sarah McKeever.
Good evening, Sarah McKeever. I just wanted to address you all about some concerns in the district that I live in. I've been there for almost 20 years, and it appears that a lot of businesses are flighting. And with that said, I'm concerned that when I looked on the government site, I noticed that I constantly see that they are having studies done on what's next. Are we going to give tips? What's going to happen? Well, my concern is, since I've been there over the 20 years, we've lost Jamestown, we're losing Kmart, we've lost Lowe's, we've lost now Pier 1, we've lost Shop and Save, etc. So at what point do we stand up and simply say, enough blighting our area, and then constantly trying to encourage us to pay more taxes? Because every time I petition to say, my taxes should not continue to go up, and they say, well, based on your MLS, it's going up because, and they can't justify it and say, well, we can only lower it by this percentage. But yet, I'm almost at $4,000 a year on a house that every time you want, if you want to refinance, you can't even get that value to bring it up to refinance. So I'm concerned that we're not really identifying a real issue. The website for the government is not updated. We have not done our due diligence to say, instead of it being quote unquote studied, that we have now an update from either a program manager or project manager to simply say the next step, the next phase, the some kind of contingency plan. There's some kind of format going on. There's nothing to give me any hope to want to stay in the area that I'm living in. So that's one and two. The next and probably the most really concerning thing is since Shop and Save has decided to pack up, we have several businesses that are still there, and I listed some in my email on the website. Well, they decided they want to give us subpar food. So I guess they think we all need extra protein by giving us ants, roaches, etc. And then they'll decide that when you call the health department, for some reason, the health department has decided they're going to continue to give them A's or A minuses. I'm not really sure why. No matter how many times I call the health department, even the corporate office, because believe me, they get my call first. They think that I want to continue to eat there, and they want to send me, Miss McKeever, let me give you food vouchers. Absolutely not. Do not send them because I will tear them up. I do not want to eat at anything or any place that will give me subpar food. If my quality of food is not the standard that anyone else would eat at, why would you send your children? Why would you go there and eat? So I'm asking that someone please give me some return calls, do some better investigations, possibly update the website and let us know what is our next stage in the fixing or, shall I say, placing something or something viable to bring the community back together. We have an app, it's called Nextdoor.
Thank you.
We have a Nextdoor app, and to let you know about the Nextdoor app, we have so many complaints on the app about our neighborhood. We just need help before it's totally blighted and no one wants to be in the area. I mean, other people can afford, the average income is about $51,000 in that area. Some people can afford to move and some people cannot. I'd rather stay and try to put the money back into the community. Thank you for listening.
Thank you.
Final speaker this evening is Brandon Casтерson.
Good evening and Happy New Year. You've heard from us a lot. I'm with the National Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse over in Olivet. I wanted to talk very briefly about Bill 270. That in its current form criminalizes young people possessing nicotine products on high school campuses. We understand that there are various other versions that are currently going around, but the bill is currently written, we cannot support. We don't think that involving young people in the criminal justice system is an effective means to address youth use of these nicotine products. We look forward to working with the council members, and testifying before the committee of the whole in order to implement some evidence-based strategies that would actually reduce youth use. But with new council members, we wanted to get out here and make sure that our voice was heard once again. And we've been in touch with everyone via email and many of you through phone. So if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We are happy to help and happy to be a resource in addressing this issue that is frankly growing. Thank you.
Thanks.
No more speakers, Mr. Chair.
This concludes our public forum. Please proceed with introduction of the bills.
Bill number 1, introduced by Councilmember Harder, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a contract with Deeming Construction Company for renovation of the 911 backup call center 17-29-0C. Bill number 2, introduced by Councilmember Page, an ordinance amending ordinance number 27,142 by repealing and reenacting Section 1 pertaining to grants from the Missouri Department of Economic Development, Division of Workforce Development to support of programs and services related to the Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act. Bill number 3, introduced by Councilmember Tracus, an ordinance authorizing the county executive to execute a contract with Civil Design Incorporated for design of improvements to Suisun Park Island Lake, CC 809. Bill number 4, introduced by Councilmember Tracus, an ordinance amending Title 12, St. Louis County Revised Ordinances 1974's amended traffic code by enacting and adding one provision to Schedule 6 and one provision to Schedule 9. Bill number 5, introduced by Councilmember Tracus, an ordinance amending ordinance number 26,996 by repealing and reenacting Section 3 pertaining to PC 43-17, Leda Ventures 2 LLC. Bill number 6, introduced by Councilmember Harder, an ordinance approving a transfer of jurisdiction between St. Louis County, Missouri and the City of Valley Park, Missouri of certain real property, and authorizing the acting director of planning to submit a proposal to the Boundary Commission for a change in boundaries between St. Louis County and the City of Valley Park. Mr. Chair, that is all the bills.
Perfection.
Bill number 202, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to hold 202, and 202 will be held.
Substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 208, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray.
Move to hold.
Substitute Bill number 1 for Bill 208 will be held.
Bill number 270, introduced by Councilmember Wassinger for Councilmember Tracus.
A moment, please. Please hold the order of business.
Bill number 270 will be held.
Bill number 327, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to hold 327, and 327 will be held. We are working on a substitute.
Bill number 329, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray.
Move to perfect Bill number 329.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 329 is perfected.
Bill number 335, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray. Mr. Chair, we have a substitute bill. Shall I read the substitute bill?
Yes.
Substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 335, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray, an ordinance authorizing transition activities by incumbent elected officers and their successors.
Thank you. Do you have a motion to adopt the substitute bill?
I move to adopt substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 335.
Second.
All in favor of adoption of substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 335, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 335 is adopted. Would you like to perfect that? Or would you like to hold it?
I would have to suspend the rule.
Nope, not for perfection.
I move to perfect substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 335.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
Motion carries. Substitute Bill number 1 for Bill number 335 is perfected.
Bill number 336, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to perfect Bill number 336.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 336 is perfected.
Bill number 337, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to perfect Bill number 337.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 337 is perfected.
Bill number 338, introduced by Councilmember Dolan.
I move to perfect Bill number 338.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Bill number 338 is perfected.
Bill number 339, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray.
Hold, please. Hold Bill number 339.
339 will be held.
Bill number 341, introduced by Councilmember Page.
I move to hold Bill number 341. I think we should have a hearing on this, and 341 will be held. Final passage.
Bill number 353, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to hold Bill 353, and 353 will be held.
Bill number 258, introduced by Councilmember Walton Gray.
Please hold
Bill
Bill
number
number 258.
Bill number 258 will be held.
Bill number 271, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move to hold Bill number 271. 271 will be held.
Bill number 328, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for final passage of Bill number 328.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on Bill number 328, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 328 is finally passed.
Bill number 330, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for final passage of Bill number 330.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch?
I have a question for the county counselor. Mr. Crane?
Yes, go ahead.
My daughter works for Mid-America Transplant. Should I abstain on this?
Would suggest that would be advisable.
I abstain.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 330, there are 6 ayes and 1 abstaining.
Bill number 330 is finally passed.
Bill number 331, introduced by Councilmember Erby.
I move for final passage of bill number 331.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 331, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 331 is finally passed.
Bill number 332, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for final passage of bill number 332.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 332, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 332 is finally passed.
Bill number 333, introduced by Councilmember Tracus.
Move for final passage of bill number 333, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 333, there are 7 ayes.
Bill number 333 is finally passed.
Bill number 334, introduced by Councilmember Page.
This bill places a charter amendment before the voters in April that will designate an attorney in the county councilor's office for the legislative branch of government with the duty and responsibility to that branch of government, and the same for an attorney to the judicial branch with duty and responsibility to the judicial branch. I move for final passage of bill number 334.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch?
Just a question. Of course, the last council got this started, so I have a question to get a chance to ask. If I read it correctly, it looks like the 3 branches all still report to the county councilor. Is that correct?
And the difference is that we'll segregate duties and responsibilities to their identified client, which is certainly complicated and different than what currently exists.
But they still report to and answer to the county councilor?
So there's a concept in the provision of legal services that a wall is built and a duty exists to the client. And the issue we currently have is the question of who the client is. And this, we hope, will clarify the question of who the client is for who is receiving legal advice.
And if one of those 3 branch attorneys or a group of attorneys have to get a decision on something, would they go to Mr. Crane or whoever the county councilor is at that time to get that answer?
So if they have to navigate the responsibility to their client with providing information to someone who has the duty and responsibility to someone who may have an opposing view, then I would suggest that they seek legal advice from the Office of Disciplinary Counsel of the Supreme Court on how to manage that conversation.
Okay. All right. Thank you for that. I vote no.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Mr. Chairman, I think you know my feelings on this bill. I'm just going to go on record. My opinion is the charter is woefully deficient and flawed in this regard. In the idea that an attorney or his office can represent clients that potentially have conflicts of interest. If the last 2 years has shown us anything, it has shown that on more than a few occasions, the interests of the county council and the interests of the county executive have diverged. In most of those instances, the council has been relegated to getting its advice concerning whatever the issue may be from the county councilor's office, who, by the charter, serves at the pleasure of the county executive. So the idea that this body should not have its own attorney, frankly, is absurd. And the charter needs to be amended in that regard, and I would like to see the Charter Commission address that. That said, Chairman Page's reference to the so-called Chinese wall is an interesting concept, one that in 40 years of practice, quite frankly, I've never believed. Human nature isn't such that you can divide yourself within one office and believe that you're going to have sufficient independence to serve conflicting interests. So I've got a problem with this bill, Mr. Chair, I really do. But I'm not sure that anything short of this is going to improve the situation. So based on my reservations, notwithstanding, I'm going to vote aye.
Councilmember Harder?
I too have some reservations, and I've talked to the chairman about this as well. I sure don't want to hire someone from the outside and spend extra money in a time when we're cutting budgets, but at the same time, we do need our own legal counsel that we can go to that is going to keep our conversations and our strategies in confidence and have some fiduciary duties to us. I guess my own concern is will we get something in writing that will solidify those fiduciary relationships to this council so that we all know what to say and not say to that person once that person is determined to be our counselor. So do you know anything about that or how we would arrange that?
I can only say that I hope this clarifies the tasks, duties, responsibilities, and liabilities of attorneys in the county counselor's office when they have to serve the interests of the county council and the interests of the county executive. And I will depend on them to do their best to follow the charter amendment and work this out. I know your concern is that this would add another staff member to the county council office. I understand that you would not like to grow our staff at this point. I would recognize that the person who serves our interests could have many other duties in the county counselor's office besides providing us legal advice, which might not be a full-time job. But I don't know if I can answer your question in a charter amendment where we want to give as much authority to a concept without tying our hands too much with the details.
I mean, if we're going this route, we got to make sure that that person is working for us on the council, not just an extra person that is no different than what we got now.
Well, I think we depend on the professionalism of the attorneys who give us advice in their interpretation of the charter. And if we don't feel like we're getting that level of service, then it's our duty to call it out. But I would see this charter amendment as tightening that responsibility a little bit.
Do you see this also as, will we be able to pick who that person will be?
I would not, I don't see anything in this charter amendment that allows us to choose who would be assigned to us or the judicial branch to choose who would be assigned to them. What we're asking for is that the person assigned would have a clear duty and responsibility to the client that they're assigned to and be able to navigate that with confidence that they're not obligated to disclose our concerns or advocate against our concerns.
And if that were the case, what would be the recourse?
Well, at any point when, in this setting, our recourse is to point out when we see the legal advice coming with what I would call a political interpretation. And any legal document, any law, any constitution can be interpreted in a way to advocate for anyone's position. And it's an advocate of a position until it's ruled on in court. And I would hope that this charter amendment would give an attorney who's providing us advice some comfort that they have a duty and responsibility to us, and they can perform that duty and not also have a shared obligation to someone who has a completely opposite legal position.
I vote aye.
Mr. Chair, on bill number 334, there are 6 ayes and 1 no.
Bill number 334 is finally passed, yes.
To some of the questions that were previously addressed or asked, this bill would not address those questions. We could, set up another ordinance or something to address some of the issues that were just mentioned just now. This primarily just allows us to put it on the ballot, and we can word, we have to create the wording for the ballot as well. But I think we do need to hash out some of the stipulations and different issues, I guess, for lack of a better word, that could come up if this should pass.
Yeah, I think there will be some unknowns. Really the greatest authority of the county council, the legislative branch of government, is through the budget process. And that's probably how this would be addressed.
I would like for us to, kind of sit down and have a hearing or something to talk about it more. I have some things I want to bring up, but not, not in this form.
Thank you.
Bill number 340, introduced by Councilmember Tracus.
Based on today's hearing, Mr. Chair, I ask that hold bill number 340 at this time, pending the preparation of a substitute bill.
Thank you. 340 will be held, and I appreciate your perseverance in trying to get this police station built.
Moving on to resolutions, Mr. Chair, we have one this evening. Resolution number 1, introduced by Councilmember Page.
Move for adoption of resolution number 1.
Second.
Roll call.
Councilmember Erby?
Aye.
Councilmember Page?
Aye.
Councilmember Fitch?
Aye.
Councilmember Gray?
Aye.
Councilmember Clancy?
Aye.
Councilmember Tracus?
Aye.
Councilmember Harder?
Aye.
Mr. Chair, on resolution number 1, there are 7 ayes.
Resolution number 1 is adopted.
Moving on to unfinished business, Mr. Chair, item number 1.
I will move to drop this from the order of business. That will be the order. We are in the process of developing a new way to navigate the interdepartmental budget transfers, and I believe we will have a good resolution in the next couple of weeks.
Item number 2, First District.
Please hold.
So ordered.
Item number 3, First District.
Please hold.
So ordered.
Item number 4, First District.
Please hold.
So ordered.
Item number 5, First District.
Please hold.
So ordered.
Item number 6, First District.
Please hold that as well.
So ordered.
Item number 7.
Hold on the order of business, and that will be the order. I would like to process these appointments when we can get a hearing scheduled.
Item number 8, Fourth District.
Please hold for the two, please hold item number 8 and item number 9 so that we can have a hearing a short hearing to introduce the people to the council.
So ordered.
And moving on to new business, Mr. Chair, I believe it's the,
There's only one. Order number 1, which is number 2. So we only got one.
I know, so we're gonna do this.
We've got order number 1. It's really number 5, because we dropped the rest of them.
Okay, I move, okay, you already told it. Okay, I move for adoption of order number 1.
So order number 1 is really titled 0-5 because we dropped the other orders. So
Make sure we're.
everyone have 0-5, it relates to destruction of property. It's the only order I'd like to consider tonight.
I got 0-4.
It's 0-5.
I have 5.
Jen, could you read 0-5 for everyone?
in the matter of communications from Jennifer Keating, Deputy Director of Administration, and Paul Kreidler, Acting Director of Administration, requesting authorization to dispose of certain personal property.
Okay, everybody okay with that? Okay. All in favor of adoption, or all in favor of,
Mr. Chair, I don't believe anybody made made a motion to adopt
we
it.
should,
I did it.
I think
It's just,
Thank
yeah.
you.
I move for adoption of order number 5.
Second.
I mean,
it's order number 1.
order number 1, I'm sorry.
That's what's confusing.
The others are gone, so we just.
In the past, we've just used the numbers that came on.
You can do that if you want, but there won't be a 1 through 4.
Right.
You're happy with that?
Yes, because that's
Okay.
how we've done it in the past, so.
Let's be
Just say
Be
consistent.
five.
consistent. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Again, I move for adoption of order number 5.
Second.
Okay, everybody knows what we're talking about. Good. All in favor of adoption of order number 5? Say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Order number 5 is adopted. Comments by any council members before we
Go ahead, ma'am.
I only wanted to say welcome to the new
Yes.
council members. It's,
Absolutely.
it's just kind of bittersweet.
Yeah, mine was very similar. I was gonna say, appreciate being invited to the party. One of the other things I wanted to mention that for next week's agenda, you will hear some legislation I'm proposing to restore the $4.8 million cut that the police department had in their budget for 2019. And all I ask for is an open mind and some good discussion about that, and hopefully we can move forward.
Okay, thank you, and again, I would just echo, welcome to our new council members, and we look forward to a productive year. As Tom Sullivan pointed out, we have a lot of things on our plate, and we need to get busy.
It's an honor to be here. I'm looking forward to working with all of you and others within county government to make St. Louis County a great place for all of us. Thank you.
Right?
Motion to adjourn.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you.